Hi, I'm Nikki Manx, co-director of Heart in Motion, and I'm here with Alex Vetterlein, our faculty and staff member who I've known for the past 5 years, and I'm so grateful to have him on our staff. So I'll let him tell you a little bit about what he teaches.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, Nikki. I'm super excited to be able to talk like this. We've done a couple interviews with some of our faculty members, and now it's my turn, which is really awesome. I am one of the yoga teachers at the studio. We teach adult classes, so I have a Restorative and a Hatha and a Yogalates. But then we also have classes for the whole family. We have family yoga and youth yoga for our children. And then I also teach musical theater.
Great. We've loved having that new addition of a musical theater class this year. And I know you've worked with a lot of different ages. In terms of musical theater, I know we often do a musical theater camp at the end of the summer. What ages do you recommend studying musical theater?
I think musical theater is an awesome option for anybody who's interested in the performing arts. I would say that it's never too early to start exploring musical theater, whether it be an aspect of dance or of singing or of just getting on stage and acting. For our classes this summer, the recommended age is 5 and up. We're planning on holding 2 levels, I believe. So one elementary level and then one middle school and up. So we're super excited about that.
Great. I know with the yoga program, rather, that have been directing the family yoga and the youth yoga program. You have some suggested ages for different family practices. And I know our family yoga, you've included, I believe, up to babies and preschool age. And our youth yoga class on Fridays, you've been working more with the middle schoolers. So do you want to talk a little bit about the difference in the youth yoga program, which is really just for the youth, a little bit older, and then the family yoga program, which is more inclusive for all ages?
Yeah, actually, okay, so part of the reason that I really think yoga is beneficial for children is that it forms community and union, and it is a way for them to connect on a level without having to speak to each other, with just exploring these postures and these breathing techniques and things like that in class. So the youth yoga program, we have a class on Fridays that meets at 3:45. And we've had some faithful yogis for about the past year now since we've started it, which is really awesome. For that age group, we recommend between 8 and 14, really. So we do get a mix of different ages, and it's really awesome to have them in there. Family yoga, on the other hand, is really nice because if you're a young child, you get to bring your mom and dad or your grandparent or your aunt and uncle, maybe even a cousin as a guest to come to a class with you. And we work on really building that family relationship through asana, through the physical practice of yoga, and doing some challenging and fun games and stuff. And it's exciting for people to get to know each other, because now you have a bunch of different families mingling that would have otherwise never known each other. Say that one of the kids is 12 years old and somebody else has a daughter who's 8. They wouldn't be in the same dance class, but they can take family yoga together, which is really nice, So I think what's really important, or at least what I work towards with my classes and my teaching, and what I love about Heart in Motion, is that we're trying to form a community of all of our students, young and old, the adults and the babies. And yes, my friend Lauren Raffaelli, she teaches family yoga as well. And one time she had an infant in class. So it's really open to anybody.
Yeah, for sure. I know it's something that you and I have prided ourselves on since we met. We met in a modern dance atmosphere, and we both worked together at Art of Motion before the rebranding, before Heart in Motion was the physical space. And it was really beautiful because everyone we worked with, really, we worked with people up to 100 years old. So we've now have our early childhood program that Laura manages and directs. So we have babies all the way through senior citizens, and it's really been a pleasure to, be with you all this time. I know yoga is something you found after musical theater, because when I met you, you had already grown up in the musical theater world, and yoga was this new love you were finding at the time. So I want to talk a little bit more about what inspired you to learn yoga, and maybe you could talk about some of your adult classes, since I know you have one tonight.
Cool. Okay, so actually, long story short, and shout out to one of my really good friends, Erin McClellan. She grew up in Wyckoff and studied at Art of Motion at 17 Chestnut before it was HeART. Um, and we met at Rutgers. I was going to Rutgers for a science degree my first semester, which I turned that around very quickly. But when I came back home, I started taking some classes at Bergen Community College, and Erin reached out to me and said, my old studio directors, Lynn and Olivia, they teach at Bergen. You should take some classes with them, some dance classes. And I was like, okay, awesome. So I took ballet with Olivia, and then I met Lynn shortly after, and Lynn introduced me to modern dance, which I really fell in love with. And um, she recommended to her students at the college to come take her class on Saturday mornings, her Vinyasa Flow, to help really condition us. And I saw a lot of benefit in the physical practice of yoga. And I saw how it was a really good cross-training methodology for dancing. So I kept up with the yoga and the practice. And then I also got into Pilates because of Lynn. So a lot of this credit goes out to Lynn. She really inspired me a lot in all of these realms. And something just clicked in me where I thought about it for a while, that I wanted to maybe go and do a yoga 200-hour certification. And then I had been in school for a while. I'm still in school. I'm graduating in the fall. But I said, you know what? I'm young. I have all the time in the world. Why not become a yoga teacher? And so I went to yoga school, and I loved it. And along with that, those physical benefits that I reaped from starting out with the yoga practice, I also felt like I reaped a lot of just mental, emotional, and social benefits. And I see a lot of that change in myself, and I watch it happen with other people. And that's why I really like teaching. Getting into that with tonight's class is my restorative yoga class, which I actually inherited from Lynn and from Jessica Chow, a former teacher at Art of Motion. And I did some workshops in restorative yoga, and I was really interested in it because I was having some problems with my hips and my lower back, just, tight wear and tear, not using my hips properly, everything. Everybody starts to get some issues, right? And I saw a lot of benefit from slowing things down with a restorative practice and incorporating that into my vinyasa practice, which is more of the fast-paced, breath-driven movement style of yoga. So restorative is really great. We use a lot of props. We hold poses for anywhere between 30 seconds to 3 minutes long. And you start to see a lot of benefits of just opening the body up. And if you haven't moved in a while, whether you were a former dancer, former athlete, or just somebody who never really had a big fitness regime, you start to kind of uncover that youth-like graceful movement and that joy in the movement from taking a restorative class. I've found with my students and myself personally. So that's why I'm eager to teach it. It's at 7:30 on Monday nights, and I love it. So come join us if you would like to.
Thanks. I know that, you mentioned as someone in their 20s, you had hip issues. I know Laura and I have both been transparent as directors. We've both dealt with back pain. And I know some of our other faculty members have had everything from knee pain to hip replacements. So we have a very diverse staff in terms of our quote, injuries and pain. And I know that the most people who come to your restorative class either have had pain or have a lot of stress in their life and look for that mental release. It's obviously our most gentle yoga class, like you explained. So I noticed that a lot of people are getting the benefits both physically and mentally. And it's a good transition, right? If you haven't moved in a while, you might not jump into, let's say, Lynn's Saturday Vinyasa class, which is much harder. You do have something special, and I know it usually is the strongest and takes off this time of year because we have a lot more spaces to park on Friday night in the downtown district, the CBD of Ridgewood. So do you want to tell them about your really cool Friday night class as well?
Okay, cool. So Friday night is a candlelit flow, a candlelit hatha flow. And it's really a special atmosphere to come to at the end of your week to get yourself set up for the weekend. Hatha translates loosely to hot and cold or push and pull, kind of like yin and yang. So a balancing of two opposing energies that starts with the breath. And the flow on Friday nights is not as intense as a vinyasa. It's a little bit more sturdy and it's a little bit more sedentary, but you get a great workout. And one of my main teaching philosophies in yoga is based on one of the niyamas, and that is tapas, which really is purification of the body through heat. And with this purification of the body through working the body in physical asana, you're able to reap a mental benefit because you don't have that blockage of the energy in the body. So it's really a place to release. And we light candles in the room, and you don't have to look at yourself in the mirror. It's really all about transcending that physical body and just experiencing that celebration with other people of that energy and that balancing and uniting. So I really love that class. I hope to see you all there too. Right now we're doing 6:30 on Friday evenings.
And people have been bringing their own candles, like myself. I know my sister's been tuning in from New York. We have people from all over that can't always take your class. So you can just set up your candles at home on a Friday night, like I've been doing right here in my living room, right?
Yeah, it's really nice, transformative experience. So come check it out if you feel any inspiration to do so.
Okay, now, before I give you a little more history about Alex, we're going to do a quick recap. So he does have his gentle restorative class on Mondays at 7:30. We have Candlelit on Friday evenings. We also have our youth yoga Fridays at 3:45 and family yoga, which is every other Sunday. I know that you're finally finishing up this amazing dual arts degree. We're so proud of you. I keep telling you I'm going to get a megaphone to come to your graduation because it's this amazing process to see you meet Lynn and Olivia, who I had already known for 10 years when I was your age, when we first met, through the modern dance world. We had this connection through Erin, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're finally completing this huge, huge dual degree you've been working on. Do you want to tell the audience what you've been studying at Montclair?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I am a Bachelor's of Music vocal performance major. And minoring in dance. So voice performance is a classical style of music. So that's anything from art song to opera to contemporary works. So that's a heavy duty training in itself. And on top of that, I'm doing my dance minor, which is modern dance heavy, which I fell in love with modern dance from Lynn. And Olivia and her love of ballet really imparted a love for that training ground in me, and I've seen a lot of benefit from that. So with the modern comes the daily ballet technique classes, which I've grown to love, even though I didn't like them so much at first. So on top of that, I think it's just hard because when you're investing in one art, you know, it becomes your whole life. But then when you invest in a second art and you it can be overwhelming. And it was really certainly overwhelming for me at first, which is kind of why I was like, you know what, I've always wanted to do this yoga thing, so let me take a little break and do that. But I'm refreshed and ready to finish, and I am really excited about it. It's been a lot of work, but I encourage everybody to pursue what interests you. You know, you might have interest in all different areas of art and science and math or whatever it is, and just try to pursue all of that is all that I can say, because we're all young souls in the grand scheme of things, so we can always learn a new thing or two. But yeah, that's really how I feel about that. It's been a long time coming that I'm getting my degree, though, and truth be told, I started at Rutgers as a biochemistry major because I was like, I really like science. I really love learning about things, and I have a scientific mind, so I thought maybe I'll go the pre-med route. But I was taking theater classes as well, and all my friends were dance majors and acting majors, and I was like, I just want to be involved in this world again, because I was doing it for a while. You know, it was my hobby, high school, middle school. So that's really how that all came to be.
Cool. I know that we've had some great modern dance adventures together. I probably couldn't have produced my past 5 seasons without you. Do you want to talk a little bit about modern dance and what that means to you? I definitely understand what you're saying. When Laura and I were at Rutgers, there was no option for you to take a minor in an art if you were already studying one. So it's amazing that Montclair let you do this. But then within dance itself, you said, you love modern, you cross train in ballet, you also take yoga and Pilates. It's just so much. What's specific to modern that drew you to that?
I mean, honestly, this all really goes back to Lynn and my friend Erin being my first inspiration into the field of modern dance, really. And one thing that Lynn said to me, one of the first lessons she ever taught me, was that art reflects the times in which we live. And I'm not sure where that quote is from. I think that's a quote that Nikolai passed on to her.
It is a Nick quote, yeah.
But that just struck a chord with me, and it made me want to pursue this and study it further and understand just expressing human nature and society through movement. It's a medium where, they say that if you don't have words for things, use movement. And if you do have words for things, then sing. So I love that, and I love that modern dance is not confined to just one thing. Modern dance is anything and everything, So there's really no limit to what you can do on stage or off stage or in a site-specific work. It's really all encompassing. And modern dancers and their visions, I feel like, are I think that they're the basis for multimedia performing arts, which is what I really believe in, combining singing and theater and dance, yoga and Pilates and nature and photography. And that it actually goes back to Nikolai controlling everything in the theater, and his dancers being part of the set and things like that. So I really think that is why I love modern dance, because it's so all-encompassing. Not to mention that I am always up for a challenge, and there's so many different styles and schools of thought and training and pedagogy in modern dance, and it's rigorous and really, really challenging. So if you're ever in for a challenge and learning how to express yourself, maybe dip your toes into modern dance.
Yes, for sure. And
seriously,
our modern program, hopefully we'll get back to the studio soon. I know we're sitting here and I'm thinking of, multimedia and your fascination with it. I know we always have projections at all of our shows, whether it's the studio, the recital, Nutcracker, my company. We've always, had these massive projections. And that's really how we met, because I remember I had someone in my crew cancel last minute, and I was at Art of Motion at the time. And, I got a computer overnight, and you helped me run that whole multimedia production at the studios where we ran, the production. Because of course we turn it into a black box theater, and these little different nuances with the videos have been a lot. And it is, now that I'm putting it all together, it seems to be so interconnected with your use of musical theater, right? Using all those things that now we do in all dance forms and all music forms and all of the arts. Everything's a multimedia experience. So I know you help that come alive for us in our performances. And you do a lot of work on the back end too. You're not just on our faculty, you're on our staff. How's been your experience? I know you do a lot of personal outreach to our students, and you have a connection with a lot of them. So you have to change your hat from being a teacher to being an administrative staff. So if you want to just tell anyone about any of the programs you manage on the back end of Heart in Motion.
So I actually work a lot with Nikki and Laura about planning events for the students. Really outreach to the students and event planning in that regard. I also am the guy that sends you, if we haven't seen you in a while, I go through our records and I say, wow, I haven't seen this person in a while. So I'll send you an email and say, we miss you, where have you been? Just checking in with you, which we've had to do a lot more of recently, just because we're worried about some students we haven't seen in a while, during these times. And we want them to know that we're still here and online. And I get, honestly, even though it's just part of the job doing things like that, I get really excited hearing back from them. And it's nice. It's really nice to have a community that you look forward to seeing every day and speaking to and waving to in class or as they're leaving class,
Yeah.
So it's a really great place, especially being in the heart of the studio. I did forget to mention, I mean, I went really briefly in that, but I mean, obviously, Nikki Manx is a big inspiration in my modern dance life. I
Oh,
do have to,
I
I do
mention
have to talk about that for a minute. I mean, she took me under her wing, and I was an apprentice dancer with her, and we collaborated on a work together. The grass is always greener, and it was a lot of fun because it was something that she revived and brought back that she worked with her friend like 10 years ago on, right?
Yep, she's been touring as a soloist with Pilobolus, and I wanted to revive it for 10 years. In my 10-year anniversary show, we reimagined it with you for our duet.
So that was a lot of fun. And basically, Nikki has taught me something special about modern dance, that if something poses you a challenge, you find your way around it. You think of a million different solutions on the spot. And I think that's really important, not just as in a performer's career, but just in general in life. You're always going to be presented with challenges, so just bounce around them. Back to the administrative aspect. Yeah. So basically, myself, Nikki, Laura, or Devin, another staff member, we're the people that you see at the front of the room. We'll check you in, when we're in studio. But we're also on the back ends too. We're moderating classes, so I'll pop in and say hi to the kids if it's not my class, just to let them know that I'm there and that I miss them. And we do a lot on social media, so that keeps us busy. But we're trying to build our presence, so follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook and all that good stuff, right?
And an event that you're planning this very Friday for our youth, you can invite everyone to right now as well.
Oh, so we're doing a really special event with the kids this Friday. So right before Memorial Day, we figured it would be awesome. We have the kids in classes to come in and dance, and we do fun challenges with them. And we have a lot of things going on in class, but not all of our students know each other. So we thought it'd be a great idea to do a dance-related movie night. So we're doing a High School Musical showing this Friday night at 7 o'clock. And all of our students are invited. Or if you are a parent and you have a child interested in dance, how about you send us an email, info@heartandmotionstudio.com, and just let us know you're interested in watching this movie with us and see what we got planned. So it's just a really good way for our students to feel like a community, and we want them to feel like we're a place that they can go to feel safe and have fun and make friends. We're all here for the support of the students.
And I know that you give our students so much of that balance. We've been doing the complimentary yoga for the families and the youth that you've been giving us while we're online due to COVID-19. Just like the complimentary classes, I know you just helped us post a sign at Valley so other doctors could join us, along with Dr. McCarthy, who is in our Nutcracker, who we love dearly, in our jazz program. And I think it's really special because you and Devin have been helping everyone feel comfortable online that maybe didn't think they could take dance class online before this, when we had no other options. So I know you spent a lot of personal time with our students and you developed so many personal relationships, but we just wanted to get a couple fun facts about you before you go. So I was going to ask you what your favorite memory in the performance world was.
Oh boy. All right. That's a tough one, actually. Can you ask me another question? I'll come back to that one, I promise.
Are there just too many performances that you can't even decide?
Okay, so I think that every performance is unique and special in one way or another. So there's something to take from every single performance. And I guess I don't have a favorite or a very special memory from just one off the top of my head, because there's so many different things I've learned from each and every performance. which is why I feel like I'll have to come back to it. Or maybe we'll just post in the comment section later what my favorite memory is if I think of it.
Well, I know that you have a lot of dance inspirations because one of the things you did for our students while we've been home, Alex has been adding these dance challenges. So every single week, the students will get a new challenge just to keep everyone motivated to keep coming online. We typically don't do this at the studio because we have more time to move and it's not as much of a struggle to keep us motivated because we're in contact face to face. You had sent everyone the dance legends and we shared some dance history the past week. And I know you had more dance legends, than I could count. So I don't know if you want to share your biggest inspiration in the dance or movement world.
Okay, so this is a collaboration. I do know the answer to this one. And
Okay.
it's not just a dancer, but it is also a musician, a composer. Vaslav Nijinsky and Igor Stravinsky, The Rite of Spring. You have a ballet dancer and a classical composer, a neoclassical composer. And the marriage of the two made this crazy performance that literally shook the world. People got up, there was a riot. It was nothing like they'd ever seen before. So you have this classically trained ballet dancer who disregarded all of his training, all of his knowledge about choreography, and made something modern. And we don't talk about him being a modern dancer, but he was really one of the first modern dancers. They define it really as the neoclassical period, but Igor Stravinsky, same thing. His composition reflected the choreography, the Rite of Spring. And if you don't know the Rite of Spring, it's a little bit, I know Nikki has to get running soon, but it's a little bit crazy, and it's about this ritual where a girl is sacrificed and she dances herself to death. So it's really interesting, and I think that is my biggest inspiration is thinking outside the box. And those two in the arts world thought outside the box completely because there was nothing like that before. So that's hands down. I could go on and on about all this stuff because I love dance and music history.
We know how much you love it, but how did you get into actually teaching the pedagogy of everything you do? Because you started as a student when I met you, and it seems like overnight, next thing you were faculty.
Teaching yoga actually was because, I did my training, and we did a couple practice classes at the studio. Like I invited my friends. I said, Nikki and Miss Lynn, like can I just use the studio a little bit to do some practice classes? And it ended up working out, and Nikki liked it and was like, let's get you on and teach restorative as Jessica Chow was retiring. For everything else, for musical theater and everything, I think I learned how to work with kids by spending summers working with Nikki when it was Art of Motion, and watching how she taught, and Miss Lynn as well, and just learning about really. Because nobody tells you how to teach children in in a music or a dance studio or anything like that. Nobody tells you. You have to really try on your own and get used to it and get comfortable with it. But being there firsthand and assisting and things like that really, I think, helped. Other than that, I started teaching. My first aspect of teaching was actually, I think, my first year that I transferred to Bergen Community College, second semester, I taught voice lessons to foreign exchange students, which was really cool. One of my professors set it up. There were a couple foreign exchange students that were looking to learn instruments. So for voice, they brought them my way, and it was really cool. So that was my first instance in actually teaching another human being that, in art form. But yeah.
And you do vocal private lessons and group vocal lessons now at the studio. I had no idea that started with international students, so I'm learning more about you in this very interview. If those students took one piece of knowledge, what would it be that you want your students to remember because of your classes? Just one piece of inspiration that's an Alex exclusive.
Okay. So this is a little bit different for the arts versus yoga.
You could have two.
Okay, so for the arts, you need to come back to that. The reason that we love the arts so much is because when we were children, our eyes lit up watching somebody on stage, or when we were on stage, then we felt like that person, right? Always come back to that joy, okay? Remind yourself every single day why it is you do what you do. And it is for that little child's heart that got so excited and his heart beat really fast because he just loved what was going on upstage. He wanted to be a part of expressing human emotion is really what you figure out what it is. For my yoga students, I want them to be grateful, show gratitude to themselves and to others for uniting in a practice that benefits not only the body and mental health, but spiritual health in forming a community. And that actually goes for both.
That's great. Awesome answer. The last question I have is, what was the most challenging, difficult, or monumental moment in your career? It could be monumental, so it's kind of like the question we skipped.
Ooh, okay. All right. No, the most monumental moment probably was when I was 18 and I was halfway through my semester at Rutgers and realizing that I needed to be involved in the arts and that I needed to pursue this and study it. So it was really tough backing out of something that I was good at and I enjoyed, but then making a 180 and being like, you have to work this much harder if you really want this. So that was the most challenging. I think it's also the most rewarding because I'm thankful every day that I get to be a part of this community. So.
That's amazing. I know you have shown so much gratitude, and I close my emails with gratitude. You talk about this and you end every single yoga class with this mantra. And when we talked about doing the faculty interviews, your suggestion was, why don't we have everyone name 3 things they're grateful for? So when everyone's been saying, great, I can't do this because of the pandemic, you've been finding all these miraculous things to be thankful for. And I know it's your yogic nature. You've, as an administrative staff, helped us overcome so many obstacles and been so grateful for that. And I know there's this mantra you say at the end of your classes for yoga. It's really beautiful. I don't know if you want to share it with everyone or talk about some things you're grateful for.
So there's 2 things that I say you have to show gratitude towards at the end of class. And one is for yourself, for committing yourself to this practice, even if you didn't do the best job with your physical postures or whatever. You were here and you were present and you shared your energy with others. You put out positive energy for others to absorb and you absorbed energy. The second is show gratitude towards those people that are right there in that class with you, uniting in that energy, working on something positive together, really forming that union, that community. And as of recently, I've said we have to show gratitude towards the healthcare workers and the hospital workers. I think that's really important right now. We have to show gratitude to them. We also have to be grateful to those people in our lives who might not be doing too well, who are sick, and send them well wishes, prayers, thoughts, mantras, whatever it is. Because I think that the power of, I think positive energy really does have an impact on the well-being of others and yourself. Say 3 things that you're grateful for in the morning, and I guarantee you're going to set up a more positive tone for the rest of your day.
For sure. And I know that you've heard the feedback from Dr. Edie McCarthy, who we love so much. And she's spoken about how it's really impacted her as a healthcare worker during this time. Do you want to talk a little bit about your experience in our Nutcracker? I know you were able to dance with Edie in the Nutcracker, so it made me think of that experience we didn't fit in yet in this interview. I don't know if you want to tell our audience who you played a role of.
Okay, so I was Drosselmeyer in the Nutcracker, which was really awesome because it's a cool kind of, you can play it creepy, you can play it friendly, there's all different ways to play it. So my vibe was a little bit of a kind of mysterious and creepy vibe, and it was a lot of fun. It was especially a lot of fun because we have a community of adult dancers, a lot of whom volunteered to be a part of the production, along with all of the children. So we're having adults and children uniting together, and to be at the forefront of that with Clara, bringing the plot along. Clara was Abby Karen, one of our students. It was just really an awesome experience. I think the Nutcracker is so important because it just is a symbol for us of the holidays and of that time and spreading holiday cheer. And I remember saying to Nikki and Laura and to the other adults, I was like, let's just keep this like so happy because we're spreading holiday cheer for everybody. And that's really what it's about. So you give probably your best performances when nobody is watching. And honestly, playing Drosselmeyer and acting that role really, I think, is one of the biggest challenges. And it's not like anybody special was watching, but it was for the community, and that's why it was important to me. Nikki and I also lugged around a sled from
I forgot about
storage.
the sled. We lugged a con, amazing. And we kept doing it. I mean, imagine if we toured that to hospitals, the Nutcracker. Imagine if I asked you to bring it there. But I did get it to downtown for the holidays. I know I had nothing to do with it. I made one request and Alex made it happen. So Alex is also, for everyone watching, this mystical creature to me, because he's the only person I know where if I ask him something and he knows deeply in my heart that this is going to just make the performance for me, it's my vision, he'll just make it happen no matter what it takes. So this sleigh was in storage. It was passed on to Art of Motion. It was the original Irene Fokine sleigh that Lynn inherited when the studio was Art of Motion, and we still had in a storage space. And Alex actually took it to the huge tree downtown in Ridgewood for our tree lighting, and then back for the Nutcracker. It was fantastic. It really was, Alex. And we thank you so much for being in our staff. I know you've been reminding the kids, get outside, make sure you do that. This is part of mental health, just like yoga. And now here we are, you know, looking for extra things to do. Is there anything other than dance, yoga, fitness that you like to do in your spare time?
My favorite pastime is going hiking, actually. Spending time outside, really. I like to be near water and woods. And the beach is a really nice thing.
Great.
So, yeah.
Is there any advice, young people watching you? You know, we have a lot of friends in the arts community, and, you know, I met you. I know you were, you know, already, you know, 21, 22. I think you were 21 at the time. But you were this young person to me, and now you're this sophisticated grown man with a million offerings at our, you know, studio, and voice and yoga and musical theater and dance and acting and so many great things. So if there was someone looking to follow your inspiration, tackle their dreams, become anything from a musical theater performer to a teacher to a dancer to a yogi, is there one piece of advice you want to leave our audience with from what you've learned in your journey?
I would say chase those interests and talk to people who live those interests and those hobbies and those careers. Speak to them, reach out to them, let them know that that's something that you're passionate about too. Because a lot of the times people in this community want to help younger generations, and I know that Lynn and Olivia have been so generous to not only me, but to all of their students at Bergen, all of their students that have graduated, all of their students that went to Art of Motion, and Laura and Nikki are continuing on the legacy. They want people to come back, and they really want to hear what you're doing and what you're up to, and if they can incorporate you somehow into their community. So if you have any interest in dance, yoga, Pilates, musical theater, voice, reach out to Nikki or myself or Laura, any one of us, and we'd be happy to talk to you about it. We'd be happy to get you in classes. We'd be happy to assist you in maybe meeting somebody that you would like to meet in the community that can help you pursue those interests and those passions. So
Thank you so much, Alex. I know you had mentioned earlier, you just must have asked one day, hey, can I do a practice class? And I remember your friends coming to the studio, and you've referred so many people. We often forget that, right? In the arts community, I feel it must be the same for the yoga community from what I've learned. And we want to support people. We want to see our field advance. And we feel that the world is a better, more peaceful, healed place with the arts. And we believe in it so deeply and so passionately that if you just ask, usually we say, sure. Why would we not want to train or help or mentor this young person? I know you had came to me a while ago and you wanted to learn modern dance. And I said, all right, we need you in this piece. okay, you got to edit this reel. All right, here's all the things we need to do. Let's start right now. And that's a really great piece of inspiration, because sometimes we think we're a burden to people and we don't reach out. And this is a very different community in that way. The movement, the fitness, the dance communities, they all want to help. They all want to mentor. And we're lucky to be part of that circle of community. So thank you for, all you do for us. And, I know I would not have had any of these experiences, go without you. I can't imagine the past 5 years without you. So thanks for believing in us and helping us so much. I know you helped so much with Art of Motion, and now you help so much with HeART, and you still continue to help Lynn with her company, and me with mine that Laura was a founding member of. And you've really inspired our youth and our adults, and we're so grateful to have you on our team. Thanks for your interview today. Are there any final words?
I was grateful to be here. I'm grateful to continue being here. And thank you. And a big shout out, thank you to Miss Lynn and Miss Olivia. They're really the reason that Miss Laura, Miss Nikki are here today, and the reason that I'm here with them. So the ultimate gratitude goes out to them. And that's really it. I think that's a wrap. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you so much. And for all of those who are looking to feel that infectious energy that I know Alex has, I don't think I've ever heard him say, no, I'm too busy. He's definitely someone you want to take class with. So I hope that everyone gets to enjoy those classes online. We have all of our Zoom links available publicly for our drop-in classes on the class schedule page at heartandmotionstudio.com. We also have the links in our Instagram and our Facebook daily. So you can check us out. Come try a free class. Feel reinvigorated, rejuvenated during this time. And everyone stay well. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.